Hey peeps, as the title might tell you already, we are doing a video on James Klug, more accurately on his Don't Say Gay bill video. And as Klug explains in his little information below, this video is about him telling people what it really is and to see if they support it. Let's pop in and see if Klug gets it right.
What's going on, everyone? James Klug here. Teachers and third-party participants in the state of Florida can no longer teach children kindergarten through third grade about sexual orientation or gender identity in a way that is not age appropriate. Now, the left is pushing back hard.
This bill does not ban the teaching of sexual orientation or gender identity for kindergarten to third grade if it's inappropriate. This bill bans classroom instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity for kindergarten through third grade, period. It does not matter if it's inappropriate or not. Then the bill extends that ban to all students if said instructions are inappropriate. Bear in mind, that clip is 30 seconds into the video, so his foundation for his entire interview process and the video is entirely wrong. So all the questions he's going to ask, if they're based on this understanding, are pointless, because Klug is not telling Californians what this bill really is. We can see this to be true when the author of the bill was questioned on the matter.
It may not occur through kindergarten through grade 3, but your bill goes on to say, or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. So that actually, would you agree, that goes beyond third grade, and that applies to all students of all grades?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Representative, yes, so that what I would say beyond the third grade is it's in line, it's age appropriate, it's in line with what's already state statute.
If we watch this first interview, his retelling of the bill is interesting, especially for those who've followed the bill a little bit, though he does repeat some of what he said before.
Parental rights and education bill passed in Florida bans teachers and third-party participants from teaching K through third grade about sexual orientation and gender identity. In the bill, it says discussions that are not age appropriate.
What is interesting about the last tidbit is him referencing to the bill that it remarks that having discussions of the subject that are not age appropriate. This is interesting because while before we could say his misunderstanding of the bill was simply a misinterpretation of it, Klug makes it clear that he doesn't know what's in the bill as he hasn't taken the time to read it. We know this by him bringing up the term discussion. No term or synonym exists in the current state of the bill. There had been a previous bill that used the term encourage discussion instead of classroom instruction, but that has been long since changed. If I had to guess, Klug is probably working off a makeshift of articles and headlines to inform himself of what the bill does, rather than read it. As in, Klug is now combining two versions of the bill, past and present. Klug reiterates a similar point later on with the term conversations.
People have the right to do something, and more of talking about, because they're banning the conversations that aren't age appropriate.
Now, even in the original version of the bill, it wouldn't actually ban conversations from happening. Generally, it would only ban the encouragement of a classroom discussion about said subject matter. A fun thing about this video is a mention of parental rights.
Not acceptable, because now you're bridging the gap of parental rights. You're a teacher. Teach my child school things, ABCs.
It's funny because the restriction of teaching sexual orientation or gender identity has nothing really to do with parental rights. Because if we were really trying to make a parental rights argument, this bill would be giving parents the right to choose whether their children are exempt from this education. If it's a parent's right to decide, then what's not a better way than to allow parents to choose if their children are exempt from learning it? A great example for this is sex education. Florida does not have any penalties for teaching sex education at these levels, nor for inappropriate material pertaining to it on all levels. In fact, there has been multiple amendments to this bill that have tried to apply it to sex education. There is a reason why I use the word exempt. That's because in Florida, any student whose parent makes a written request to the school's principal shall be exempted from the teaching of reproductive health. Understanding that, we have a bill that is harsher towards the teaching of sexual orientation or gender identity than Florida's current sexual education laws. Parents can opt out their children for sex ed. However, for this bill, it doesn't even give parents the choice. If this bill did care about parental rights, it would just mimic Florida's current laws in sex ed and give parents the ability to opt out of certain programs. This bill is intentionally written to be controversial. It is written outside the norms of Florida's current law. Not only that, but the original language of this bill was absolute hot garbage. It was a ban on encouraging discussion instead of what it is now, classroom instruction. The language is bad on so many levels. Interpreted broadly, we have a legal nightmare for schools. Interpreted narrow, it would only affect schools that opened, fostered, or created a discussion. So you could technically teach sexual orientation, you just couldn't open it up to a discussion format, which just creates a weird super niche bill that wouldn't even fix a problem they believe exists. This is all to show that because this bill, like many before it, only serves to feed into the culture war and to pander, and that Klug should probably read the bill and know at least some Floridian law before he starts telling Californians what this bill really is. Hey peeps, end of the video here, and I gotta say, pop this one out pretty fast. I hope I can keep popping them out at this speed. And anyways, thanks for watching.